Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremony is about to begin. At any time during the ceremony, please feel free to come forward and take pictures. Please stand for the invocation given by Private First Class Elliott and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for the opportunity to play soldiers and work to serve this country. I pray you protect us from God and good. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Right. Huh.
Captain Campbell, First Sergeant Cerna, distinguished guests, friends, and relatives, welcome to the pinning ceremony for 13 Juliet Class 5417 and 5517, 13 Mike Class 50118, and 13 Romeo Classes 1617 and 1717 from Alpha Battery, 1st Battalion, 7th Field Artillery, United States Army. Today marks the successful completion of their demanding coursework. This is their day to be part of a fully trained and ready Army. Soldiers, today you join the ranks of the United States Armed Artillery, a proud warrior race whose history began with a few simple cannons and has evolved into a complex system of short and long-range missiles and howitzers with unlimited capabilities. You are here because you successfully completed the challenging training necessary to become a fully qualified soldier in the most lethal army in the world, following the footsteps of those before you, to include your instructors. You have been trained by the most professional non-commissioned officers and Department of the Army civilians working in our Army today. Your field artillery instructors are the elite of their military occupational specialties. These instructors must demonstrate exceptional proficiency in all areas related to instruction, as well as being professional leaders and mentors. All instructors spend countless hours teaching, coaching, counseling, and living the 7 Army core values of loyalty, duty, respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage, and must also go through a rigorous certification program to become qualified to instruct. They must maintain these standards throughout the cycle as an instructor. The instructors for the soldiers standing before you are Sergeant First Class Barano, Sergeant First Class Hayden, Sergeant First Class Ritter, Sergeant First Class Vasquez, Staff Sergeant Cook, Staff Sergeant Dayton, Staff Sergeant Evans, Staff Sergeant Hennish, Staff Sergeant Hernandez, Staff Sergeant Klug, Staff Sergeant Cruz, Mr. Brown, Mr. Gunn, Mr. Martinez, Mr. McClard, and Mr. Smiley. Ladies and gentlemen, the guest speaker for today's ceremony is CW2 Boyd.
Good afternoon, Lieutenant Colonel McCrae, Command Sergeant Major Shoemaker, Captain Campbell, and First Sergeant Sorna. Distinguished guests, family, and friends of your graduating classes. Again, welcome to today's ceremony. I am Chief Jason Boyd. I'm the Brigade Targeting Officer for the 30th Armored Brigade Combat Team out of North Carolina. It's both an honor and a privilege to be standing here before you today as your guest speaker, so thank you. First and foremost, I'd like to be the first to congratulate the graduating classes and the Army's newest radar operators, rocketeers, and fire control specialists. Parents, I apologize for stealing that right from you, but I can assure you that you are to hold the superlative of being the proudest parents in society today. And with good reason. I was taught early in my career that this privilege comes with some expectations. A few of these expectations I hope to meet today. The first is being short. And believe me, the irony of that expectation is not lost. So I'm going to say that box is checked. Obviously, I meet that expectation. The second expectation is to be brilliant. And that's the expectation I think is going to be the most difficult for me. And I don't know that I can actually meet that expectation today, but I hope that your futures prove me wrong and that you can look back on these remarks that I make today and see them as brilliant. Finally, the last expectation is to be gone. Okay? So I'm going to talk about 20 years ago, I was in the same seat, or standing in the same position as most of these soldiers are today. I was the milk private of class 19-9 or 8. Milk private. I was made to drink 2 glasses of milk every meal in hopes that I would grow up one day. We were the Delta Dragons, and I was a newly trained fire control specialist myself. And I can't begin to describe the pride that I felt when putting that uniform on. It felt good. It was the world to me. It meant that I was part of something. I was part of a team. With that said, I'm going to make it very clear for the soldiers here today that the uniform that you wear is well known. There are 195 countries in the world today, and every single one of them knows the uniform you wear. So wear it with pride, for no other team can stake the claim of being that known. Wear the uniform proudly and wear it properly. Remember that when wearing this uniform, you represent a great country and a great organization. And you represent everything that we stand for. So let me say, welcome to the team. In my 20 years of service, I've been around the world a few times. And because of the uniform and its popularity and its recognizability, I can say that there's never been a place that I've gone to that I wasn't bought a cup of coffee, a breakfast, or a dinner and thanked for my service. And don't get me wrong, I love the gratitude and the support of the population. But I can say that never in those 20 years has anyone ever bought my mother a cup of coffee. No one's ever thanked my father for the sacrifices he makes. And certainly no one's ever thanked my children for the involuntary sacrifices that they continue to make today. So to the families of these young soldiers today, let me say thank you. Thank you for the sacrifices that you've made, and thank you for the sacrifices that you will make. To the soldiers, we make it very clear that for every sacrifice you make, you have a family that sacrifices just as much. Be sure to share your gratitude with those who love and support you. About 10 years into my career, I changed MOS as I became a radar operator like many of the soldiers here today. And unlike them who went through a 10-week course, I went through a 2-week class on how to be a radar operator. Yeah. It doesn't seem fair, does it? Don't judge me. It's okay. But to be honest, I can honestly say that there's no way in that 2 weeks that I learned anything near the information that you soldiers hold today. You've been taught by the Army's greatest, by the finest instructors and the finest DA civilians that the Army has to offer, and you've been taught well. And I can say from my experience that the knowledge you hold has value. Having been 2-week trained on a Q-37 section I was getting ready to deploy to Iraq, the strongest asset of my team was a young soldier who graduated from AIT 2 weeks prior. He knew so much more than I knew. He knew what I did not. And thankfully, he shared that knowledge with me, and he helped to make our operation a success. So when you go to your duty stations that follow this, go with confidence, knowing that you were trained by the Army's best and that the knowledge that you hold holds value, and utilize it. Share the knowledge that you have. The last piece of information I can leave with you is this. Your integrity is everything. Success in this career in the military hinges heavily on your character, and the traits and attributes that you exhibit to those around you can and will make or break your career. Doing what is right, even when no one is looking, is the foundation on which all of our credibility is built. If your integrity falters, so goes your credibility, and with it, your career. Always do what is right, and in everything you do it well. Thank you all again for this amazing opportunity. It's been an honor to be part of such a momentous occasion. I hope each and every one of you get the opportunity to experience the long and prosperous career as a part of the best Army in the world and the best country in the world. Thank you.
Zone, attention! Boarding, post! Forward, march. Drill, halt. Right face.
Ladies and gentlemen, the official party for today's ceremony is CWQ Boyd and Staff Sergeant Gonzalez. The Distinguished Honor Graduate Award is presented for overall excellence in training and character development throughout the training cycle. The Distinguished Honor Graduate for 13 Juliet Class 5417 is presented to Private Stauber with an average of 98.58%. The Distinguished Honor Graduate for 13 Mike Class 50118 is presented to PFC Romero with an average of 99.87%. The Distinguished Honor Graduate for 13 Romeo Class 1617 is presented to Private First Class Wellhausen with an average of 99%. The Distinguished Honor Graduate for 13 Juliet Class 5517 is presented to PFC Elliott with an average of 97.91%. The Honor Graduate for 13 Mike Class 50118 is presented to Private Hill with an average of 98.7%. The Honor Graduate for 13 Mike Class 50118 is presented to PB2 for Dean with an average of 98.8%. The Honor Graduate for 13 Romeo Class 1717 is presented to Private Ingalo with an average of 99.14%. The Honor Graduate for 13 Romeo Class 1617 is presented to Private Ludwig with an average of 98.9%. The Honor Graduate for 13 Juliet Class 5517 is presented to Private Wiggin with an average of 97.16%. The Honor Graduate for 13 Juliet Class 5417 is presented to PFC Campbell with an average of 97.19%. The High APFT Award for 13 Romeo Class 1717 is presented to Specialist Jacobucci with a PT score of 376 points. The High APFT Award for 13 Mike Class 50118 is presented to Private Hess with a score of 291 points. The High APFT Award for 13 Mike Class 50118 is presented to Private Davis with a PT score of 298 points. The High APFT Award for 13 Juliet Class 5517 is presented to PSC Panika with a score of 300. And the High APFT Award for 13 Juliet Class 5517 is presented to PFC Ortega with a PT score of 300. At this time, Private First Class Elliott is going to present CW2 Boyd with a plaque to thank him for guest speaking today.
Left face. Forward march. Through, hold. Left face.
The soldiers of these graduating classes will now pin on the Field Artillery branch insignia, thus signifying that the Department of the Army and the Field Artillery Commander has certified that these soldiers are branch qualified and are true artillery soldiers. The cross cannons insignia has been in use since 1834 and represents two Napoleon cross cannons from 1812. The insignia was modified in 1901, 1907, 1957, and 1967, which is the design in use today and represents the field artillery as the king of battle. Private First Class Elliott will now lead these classes in reciting the Soldier's Creed.
The Soldier's Creed!
I am an American soldier. I am a warrior, member of the team. I serve the people of the United States and live the Army values. I will always place the mission first. I will never accept defeat. I will never quit. I will never leave a fallen comrade. I am disciplined, physically and mentally tough, trained and proficient in my warrior tasks and drills. I always maintain my arms, my equipment, and myself. I am an expert and I am a professional. I stand ready to deploy, engage, and destroy the enemies of the United States of America in close combat. I am a guardian of freedom and the American way of life. I am an American soldier.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the singing of the Army song.
March along, sing our song, with the army of the free. Count the brave, count the true, who have fought to victory. We're the army and proud of our name. We're the army and proudly proclaim. First to fight for the right and to build the nation's might. And the army goes rolling along. Proud of all we have done, fighting till the battle's won. And the army goes rolling along. Then it's high, high, hey, the army's on its way. Count off the cadence loud and strong. For wherever we go, you will always know that the army goes rolling along.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the graduation ceremony. The cadre and soldiers of the 1st Battalion, 17th Field Artillery would like to thank you for your attendance. Please feel free to come forward and congratulate the graduates. Distinguished honor graduate, take charge.
Victory starts here, Sergeant!
This will defend.
Hooray! Right!